Hey, it's Oliver Manalese with HolisticEntrepreneur.ca. Hope you're doing well. It's a muggy November morning, but it's going to be a beautiful day today. So I was lying in the last video. There are some beautiful days still left in Mississauga. But what I wanted to talk to you today about is some steps you can take towards self-knowledge, because it's such an important topic that we talk about here at Holistic Entrepreneur. And I just wanted to go over some of the steps, because I believe that at the true core of everything is who you're being, and your self-awareness and your self-knowledge are an important factor when it comes to the outward effect of your weight, of your finances, of your businesses, of your relationships. I find that it's very important because Socrates, the famous philosopher, says that the beginning of wisdom is self-knowledge. And another famous philosopher in most recent times, Napoleon Hill, he's actually a philosopher of individual success, actually. And the important things that he says when you're reading his book, Think and Grow Rich, is he talks about how we only have control over our thoughts. We have no control over our environment, over other people, over different circumstances. The only thing we can control is our thoughts. And we have to be able to think for ourselves and develop our own mind if we want to be successful people. So some quick questions I wanted you to ask yourself to start taking steps towards self-knowledge is, number one, when or where have I sought the approval, or am I subject to the opinion of others? So some of these examples could be, when I was in high school, I was seeking approval. I was, trying to fit in with a specific group. Therefore, I changed the way that I did my hair, the type of haircut that I had, the type of clothes that I wore had to match the tribe that I was trying to get into. The words that I used, the way that I spoke, the vernacular. You were trying to match and fit in. It could be also ideas, so your political ideals, your ideas on the entire world, what your perspective is on how the world works. You could be shifting that so you can fit in with a specific group as well. Or you hear people talking all the time about material things. I just got a new car, trying to fit in because you're trying to have a better car or trying to look better. I got this new TV and all this stuff, appearing better because of the stuff that you've accumulated. So those are a couple of examples. So when or where have I sought the approval, or am I subjected to the opinion of others? The second question you might want to ask yourself if you're seeking self-knowledge would be, where in my life have I been using insert object here in order to avoid myself? So where in your life have you been staying busy? Maybe you're a workaholic. You're just staying as busy as you can, avoiding yourself. When you're working from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, you can't really have relationships. You can't really have a relationship with yourself. You can't really focus on your health. So if you're a workaholic, that could be one thing. Going out a lot, you might be just always needing to be around other people. You might always need to be around your friends or your peer groups. You might not be getting anything out of it, but at least there's some noise inside of your head keeping you occupied. So obviously, you need the company of others. Or you might find it really hard to be alone. Is it hard to find solitude in your life? Can you just sit in a place like this for 15, 20 minutes without losing your mind, without going crazy? So some of these things might be keeping your mind occupied with drugs or alcohol or prescription drugs or whatever it is. These are all the things that we use to avoid ourselves. So where in my life have I been using insert object here in order to avoid myself? These two important questions, I believe, will lead you to new territory in terms of your self-awareness. And it might be hard to face, it might be hard to admit to yourself, but it's an important step. You got to be able to admit it before you take on anything, because the way your finances are, the way your business is, the way your health is, the things that are going inside your head, those are all just an effect of what's going on inside. And what's going on inside, you got to find out, and the only way to find out is if you're asking the right questions. And that's one thing Napoleon Hill teaches as well, is when you ask the right question, the answer will come. You might have to ask the question over and over and over again for months, weeks, days even. It really depends on what the question is, but eventually the answer will come. So now that you've asked yourself those questions, here are some suggestions to continue pursuing self-knowledge. It's a lifelong journey. You're never going to finally just get it, because you're always changing, because you're always adapting, because you're always learning new things. So it's going to be a continual journey. But step one, I'd say read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a philosophy for individual success. It's going to teach you about the power of your mind, the power of the mastermind, the power of finding out what your chief aim is in life, what your desires are. So I highly recommend that book. Read it. You'll probably read it over and over again in your lifetime. The most successful people that I know have read it numerous times over and refer to it all of the time. Step two is, now that you've asked yourself these questions and you're finding out a lot of things about yourself, get a journal like this one. There's some great, there's some great material that's coming out of your head that you need to put down on paper. There's something magical about putting something down on paper and recording and documenting the things that you're finding out, so that you can go back and see, wow, this is what I figured out, because it might be a month later, a year later, couple years later, and you'll look back in that journal and it'll blow you away, the stuff that comes out. So I highly recommend you start journaling on a daily, weekly, on a regular basis, whenever you can. Step number three, I'd say spend some time alone. Be okay with solitude. Take yourself out on a date. Sit outside with nature, being alone. Be alone with your thoughts and see what happens. Be curious and see what happens. Because overall, the goal is self-knowledge. That's what we're pursuing. We're pursuing self-knowledge, self-awareness. But the result of pursuing that goal is going to be power. It's going to be confidence. It's going to be control over your life. So with all that information, I really hope that you got some value out of it. I really do. These are the steps that I've taken in my life, and I do it regularly over and over again, and I continue to find value in it, and continue to find holes in my life that I can continue to fill, and areas in my life that I still need to work on and improve. And it's a never-ending journey, and all that matters is, when you're in the present moment, are you working on it? Are you improving it? Are you still the same as you were last year? And I really hope that you continue to grow, expand your capabilities and capacity to enjoy life. Thank you very much.